Trek to Yomi is an action-adventure, side-scrolling, sword combat, samurai simulator game. The main question you must ask yourself is, do you want to play a movie? It's probably the most important question. Does this aesthetic with the black and white and enemies coming in one at a time, does that resonate with you? Do you feel like that's something you want to play? If you're in it strictly for the combat experience, the sword fighting, I think you're going to be disappointed, and I'll get to why in just a second. What I will say is Trek to Yomi is right up my alley. This aesthetic is perfect for me. It's exactly what I'm looking for in a game, something so beautiful, something so cinematic. I really like those old black and white Japanese films, and so this really speaks to me. Let's move on to the next topic, gameplay. Trek to Yomi is one sword fight battle after the next. You will go into a screen, and there will be men there to murder, and they will try and kill you, you kill them instead. If you die, it's not that big of a deal. The checkpoints are fairly generous. You don't lose too much progress, which I like. One thing to note is that the game has branching pathways. You can kind of go into a house and check out what's in there. Maybe you'll find an upgrade, maybe not, which is annoying to me because I hate missing things. I absolutely hate it. Having more health or stamina might be very helpful in a boss battle such as this. That said, I did die a few times in this boss battle, although it wasn't too hard. If the checkpoint's right outside, you can just try a couple times and eventually memorize the pattern and handle it. Here's an example of picking something up in the level. It flashes very lightly, and you have to look for those flashes if you want to find more ammunition for your bow or throwing weapons. There are also collectibles to find, although I have no idea if I missed any at all. There are also combat combinations you can find, and I have a note about those coming up as well. Now, moving on to the combat. And I've named this section Blocking to Death, because either you're going to be standing there, blocking and maybe miss a block and then die, or you're going to be standing there, blocking, hopefully hitting a perfect block so you can counter and then kill the enemy. The slowest and most careful way to play is the best way to play. If you run into these battles just sword slashing around, you're going to get hit a lot and possibly die. Your health bar isn't that big, so going into a battle, being very cautious and blocking as much as you can is the best bet. Well, I just talked over the part where I gained a new combination, a new combat combination. Unfortunately, those aren't super useful. I started using some of them sometimes, but just your standard block and then attack works every time on everybody. Pretty much all the enemies will stand around waiting for you to kill the guy that's currently attacking you. It's the one person at a time rule. Oh, here's another combination thing. Another thing I never used, heavy attack. Barely needed it throughout the entire playthrough. Part of the reason the combinations aren't really that useful is because the combat doesn't feel responsive. You have to be perfect trying to nail these combos and hit the buttons at the right time, and button mashing is just a lot easier and more effective. You can't cancel your actions either, so if you're halfway through an attack and another attack from them is coming in, you're going to have to eat it. The point is, the combat's repetitive. You go in, block, then you attack. It's the same every time. The moves aren't that useful again, and so it can get a bit repetitive. I didn't mind so much because I enjoyed seeing the set pieces and how the combat is shown, but if you're here just for the combat and you want to have fun or good swordplay, then Trek to Yomi is not the game for you. Another thing is the bar underneath your health on the bottom left corner is for stamina. I didn't even mention that. In the rest of this, I didn't need to. It's almost never a factor. Blocking doesn't remove enough of the stamina bar to matter. Enemies don't attack fast enough for you to block that much. And if you're always perfectly blocking, you will repel their attack and have an opening in which your stamina can come back. It's just not a factor at all. So I guess the problem is the combat is very simple, and that works well, in my opinion, for this type of game where it's a movie cinematic feel instead of a game that's seriously about the combat. And so the reason to play Trek to Yomi is the visuals. It's a beautiful game. I realize it's entirely in black and white. That's stylized for a reason. The old Japanese films it's based on were in black and white. It's trying to match that. The locked camera allows the developers to place it perfectly to keep every shot cinematic. I think you could take a screenshot of this game in every time, anywhere, and it would be a cinematic shot. I mean, some are better than others, sure, but look, I climbed this tower, lit this fire, it's overlooking all of this land with the moon. It's gorgeous. Maybe you don't know the cinema this is based off of, and hopefully I don't get content ID'd for this, but this is a Japanese film from 1962. Black and white, lots of walking, it was very serious, and the sword fighters would come into a section, meet up in a field, and try and slash each other, and it's exactly what's happening in Trek to Yomi. That was a transition straight from the film, and now we're in the game again. If that's not a good cut, it could have worked in that film. And I think the developers absolutely nailed what they were going for. Keep in mind, as the title suggests, the game veers into the supernatural with a trek to Yomi, the land of the dead. There are also 3 different endings to the game, but it's not as if your actions matter. It's just a choice near the end of the game, whether or not which one you want to see. Side note, the game does unlock a one-hit kill mode called Kensai mode, where both you and the enemies only take 1 hit to kill. It seems like it would make the combat more exciting and also make it more cinematic like a movie. However, I don't really replay games for this kind of content, and while I think I would probably enjoy it, I wonder if it would have been cooler to have an option right from the start with this. But either way, I wanted to let you know that the mode exists if you were interested in it. Overall, Trek to Yomi is fantastic. It's absolutely one of the most beautiful games I've played this year. It's so stylized, it's so perfect. I don't understand the complaints about it being in black and white when it's trying to emulate those films so much. The combat is a little disappointing, and of course I wish it was better or more interactive or more interesting. You know, it's hard because the Batman games had so much fun combat, and I kind of wish they emulated that system here, but then again, are we all a little tired of people emulating that system? I don't know. Still, Trek to Yomi is so much fun, and I highly recommend it. I honestly can't believe someone hasn't created a game like this before. What do you think? Are you going to play this because of the cinematics, or are you going to skip it because of the combat? Let me know. Unfortunately, we've reached the end of the video. This is where you like, comment, subscribe for more indie game reviews.